Do you remember FNaF Plus? That one FNaF 1 remake that was a part of the fanverse that was cancelled because FizzNorm called Security Breach ruined boring? It would have been a complete overhaul of FNaF 1, improving upon the map, character designs, and even having a slightly different plot and being more narrative driven, which would have completely done away with Yellow Bear and replaced them with the Marionette, alongside having a few VHS tapes made to promote the game, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. You probably already know this by now. Though, a while ago I discovered this game, FNaF Blood and Gears, through an in-universe ARG the developers set up called the Fazbear Archive. It'll essentially be a reimagining of FNaF 1, completely overhauling everything and being way more narrative driven. And after doing some research, I can confidently say this game pulls off what FNaF Plus was trying to do better than it ever could have, while also desperately wanting to beat the original FNaF 1 to a pulp. You do not understand how many takes that took to get right. This game's got a lot of content to look over, from a simple post-night demo to an entire ARG based around an in-universe archive of Fazbear media, which is something I've wanted to see since I discovered the franchise way back when. Anyway, enough yapping, let's get started. When you open up the game after the disclaimer screen, you're brought to this lovely little menu screen, no animatronics inside, just simple props and things you'd expect to see in the office you'd spend most of the game in. One thing I really like about this menu is how all of the options in game title are actually on the computer monitor in front of you, making it feel like a diegetic part of the universe, which is very cool. And another cool thing is that across the screen, even in the loading sequence and disclaimer screen, you can see little dust particles floating across the screen, which I absolutely love. It's kind of subtle, but it makes it feel so much more atmospheric. You don't understand how satisfying this is. There's also the options menu, which mostly has settings for sound, but there's also a small section for video where you can toggle full screen on and off, and... What is the Markiplier switch for? And then there's the credits, which I don't actually have a lot to say about, except for the credits theme being kind of a bop. And there's a little dancing helpy at the end, that's adorable! Once you click play demo though, you're shown 6 AM Monday rather than the usual 12 AM night 1, which makes sense, it is a post-night demo. Duh. I also like how it says Monday rather than just night 1. I don't know why, I just like it when FNaF games do that. Anyway, you eventually fade into a very well designed office doing away with 2 doors and only having one on the left side, the other being replaced with a curtain. It does make me wonder how you're going to fend off animatronics on the right side though. It's definitely an interesting choice. And with the rest of the office, it's definitely a massive improvement from FNaF 1's I think, feeling much more lived in and just generally more atmospheric and immersive. The little stickers on your laptop, the junk on your desk being much less prominent but still being few and far between. The f***ing corkboard. I don't know why I'm focusing on the corkboard of all things, but I still love it. It even has one of those weird TV cart things almost every American school had when the class was gonna watch a movie. I didn't have one though, all we had was a stupid dumb projector. Stupid ass projector. After that, we're called by Jeremy, presumably the phone guy who, holy crap, voice acting from our protagonist? The voice acting is surprisingly good, and I like how dead inside we sound, it's very funny. Also, Jeremy's voice is very memorable, I think. I'm not exactly sure how to describe it, but he sounds very chipper and kind of optimistic, and it's pretty neat. Anyway, Jeremy explains there's an issue with an arcade machine called Fazbear on the Run, and says we'll be paid overtime if we try and see what the problem is. Basically, we're being paid to play a video game. Awfully familiar, huh? Apparently the game glitches out when reaching the score 1983. I mean, what other number would it be? While we're here, I'd also want to mention I really like how the tips menu and objectives look on the top left of the screen. It's very uncommon to see a FNaF game with objectives, and it's incredibly satisfying. I love the animation of it sliding off the screen when you complete an objective. It's so amazing. After leaving the office, we're brought straight to an arcade machine, and honestly, I understand why they make you just warp to the arcade, but I think it'd be cool if there's a point-and-click free roam section, something akin to a Shadow over Freddy's or something. Fazbear on the Run is a little arcade game akin to the Dinosaur Run game that appears on Chrome whenever you lose connection to the internet. I'm not going to explain this because I think everyone on Earth has played the dinosaur game at this point. Oh, and also... the pixel art! It's actually pixel art! The pixels actually snap together properly! Oh, thank you, Blood and Gear devs, thank you! But seriously though, it always irked me that the pixel art style used in Scott's game, and a lot of Scott-style fan games, isn't really pixel art, with the squares not even going together right, so the pixel art actually being pixel art makes me extremely happy. Also, the style they use for it is just generally very appealing. Freddy looks so goober, I love him, he's so squishy, look at him go. His voice acting in the game is also very silly, no matter how many times I died, in no part because of this. I never got tired of his dumb little voice, just listen to this.
Gotta go. Boom. Down. Time to run. Bring it on. Let's go.
Oh, and the music for this arcade game, Fazbear Frenzy, slaps so freaking hard. Just, oh my god, how do they do this? I think it takes inspiration from the original FNaF song by the Living Tombstone, but I'm not sure. It's still absolutely incredible though. Moving away from that though, there are a few quirks of the arcade machine. No, not the 1983 thing, we'll talk about that in a bit. Bonnie and Chica will occasionally walk up on your sides to try and get you, and you gotta pause your game and shine your flashlight in their eyes to make them leave at the cost of your light draining quickly. And to recharge it, you gotta, you guessed it, collect fictional batteries in the in-universe arcade game that you're playing. I could complain about this, but this is based off the same franchise where you can use wall tiles like a keypad, so really anything's possible. And can I just say, I love the way Bonnie and Chica look when they're beside you. The dead-eyed, slightly buggy stare is so good looking and it captures that uncanny look so well. Combined with the way Bonnie has an arm reached out and the subtle and occasional use of the FNaF 1 raspy breathing sound, it makes for them being absolutely terrifying. Yet despite everything, our main protagonist doesn't react in the slightest despite his life being threatened by these giant machines, all while trying to focus on a dinosaur game reskin. I also want to mention the way the two just appear and disappear and you just straight up never see them moving. It captures that exact feeling the animatronics have in FNaF 1, which adds so much to the horror and uncanniness. The arcade game itself isn't that hard to beat once you get used to the controls. Seriously, Z to jump and X to duck? What are these? And once you do make it to the 1983 score, the arcade machine shuts down with the words "It's me" appearing for a few frames. Yeah, I don't know what else you were expecting. Our protagonist actually reacts to this arcade malfunction, a stark contrast to the complete silence earlier of the big metal animatronics that could probably rip you in half that was standing right next to him a few moments ago, but okay. And after that we get a small glimpse of the puppet's design, and that's the end of the demo, with Endless Mode in the extras menu being unlocked on the title screen. Starting with Endless Mode, it's literally just Fazbear on the run, but endless, obviously. What else do you want me to say? Now there's the extras, which have all the basics to a FNaF extras menu. Renders, jump scares, behind the scenes stuff. Speaking of the jump scares, I love them. They feel just as fast paced and surprising as a jump scare should be, while also somehow feeling robotic and lifeless. Probably because of them keeping that dead-eyed look in the jump scare and not actually looking at you during it, making these incredibly effective and fitting. And while we're here, I want to say these plushies are adorable. I love them so much. They're so stupid looking. I want one in my bedroom. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I don't know how to end this segment. Okay, so what do we start with? Oh my god! Yeah, there's a lot to go through here, so I'm only going to talk about what I find to be interesting, or things directly linked to the game. If you want to take a look at anything yourself though, their Twitter page and website are linked in the description below. Starting with gameplay teasers, apparently the curtain on the right side of your office opens to reveal what looks to be a storage room of sorts, revealing a cool looking Freddy figurine that I'd love to have on my shelf, and whatever that thing is. I should probably also mention that the light buttons next to each entrance are now completely gone and replaced with a flashlight. Oh my! It gives off a feeling of safety while also not feeling safe at all. I don't know how to describe it. As for the camera systems, one, I love this early 2000s Windows 95 aesthetic they use. It's both super good looking and it fits the time period. And two, FNaF 1 map found shot dead in Colorado. But seriously though, I really like the new map. It's a lot more spacious and, dare I say, realistic. Also, the backstage being behind the stage is neat, and the office and corridors now being part of a closed-off sector of the building. That's fun. Seriously, that's one of my biggest issues with the FNaF 1 map. Why are these long-ass corridors of exposed pipes and wires and monitors and a platform fixed for a child to injure themselves messing with? Just out in the open. God damn it, Fazbear Entertainment, just install some f***ing doors! I also want to mention I really like the animation of the laptop being opened and closed by the player character. It's really well animated. As for the second gameplay teaser, the Freddy Honk has a slight echo, 5 stars out of 5, best game ever, and it hasn't even been released yet. It also shows us some interesting stuff about the camera system. For one, you can actually minimize the tab that shows you your stats, and I'd assume you can also minimize your cameras. Even if such a feature wouldn't really serve any purpose in game, it'd still be neat to have, I guess. And also the game's going to expand on the first resource management, adding CPU usage and laptop charge. I don't think this will overwhelm the player like some games do. It's just separating building power from camera power, which is a very welcome change. While I was recording this, the Blood and Gears team decided to drop another gameplay teaser, well technically not, but that's not the point, onto their Twitter page. So I'm just gonna slot this in the script if that's okay. Hi. The video itself is what I assume to be a bug of Foxy being stuck banging at the door. The main reason I bring this up is because, holy crap, The sounds of Foxy's loud, slow footsteps and eventual scraping and banging at the door is absolutely terrifying. I love it so much. I don't have anything else to say about this besides weird coding stuff, so back to the main stuff. Bye. No more unscripted. The next teaser I'm gonna take a peek at is the better look at the dining area, and I gotta say, this layout is just so awesome. It's so believable, and it makes perfect sense for Foxy to be on a stage directly next to the main band rather than being on the other side of the dining hall, even if I prefer Pirates Cove being in a separate room. Then there's these camera renders which, oh my, these are good. Each character has the exact mannerisms they have in FNaF 1, down to Bonnie staring into the backstage camera menacingly, although less death-glary this time, but still. Alongside Freddy hiding in the shadows and Chica having her dead-eyed, mouth-agape stare. It even slightly desaturates some of the cameras like I think Scott does in the main game camera shots to make them more creepy, which is so good. It just screams faithfulness to the source material. Next up is this Help Me Pal Hang In There poster, which I don't have anything interesting to say about. I just think it looks silly, so we're gonna take a second to appreciate this. Okay, we're done. The game's also going to have controller support, which is cool. I don't really see the points in it, but it's nice to have accessibility, I guess. In this image, you can even toggle the cameras being black and white to add that extra flair to things, making them feel more realistic and possibly even adding a bit of challenge to it all. Moving on from settings, so there's this cool Halloween render they made of Freddy during a power outage, which I think is very cool and creepy. There's not much else for me to say. There's also these character card things, which, oh my god, these are amazing! The lighting, the designs, oh! If you don't know, ARG stands for Alternate Reality Game, a game that affects the real world in some way, and players are meant to uncover clues to get more about the narrative. A good example of such being the Gravity Fall ARG from a long while ago, which is a very popular one. To me though, this doesn't really count as such besides the usual FNaF VHS stuff, with glitches and the likes. Most notably in the case of said camera glitches doing everything in their power to hide the puppet, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie's designs, almost as if they're deathly allergic to plot relevant characters. Jokes aside, I think we should start with not again! Once again, there's, a lot. So again, I'm only going to talk about the stuff I ever find interesting or can think of stuff to write about, like the main Twitter page and website. Fazbear Archive stuff is also linked below if you want to look at things yourself. Starting with the Fazbear Archive website, yeah, this just screams early to mid-2000s kids websites, from the bright colours and bubble font down to the amazingly drawn cartoon art of Freddy and Bonnie. It's so genuine feeling, and you can just smell the authenticity and passion coming off of this thing. Starting off with the characters page, each character has a multi-paragraph description for each band member. And some original guys, we'll talk about them in a minute. Providing detailed descriptions and history of everyone. From what I can tell, most of them are just copy-pasted from each other, changing the necessary details and wording in some segments, but it's still neat to have. Well, besides Foxy's, his is completely different, explaining that there was a kid's crawl maze underneath his stage originally that was shut down in the 80s, which I really like the idea of. I will mention though, I think it's cool how in this universe, Freddy and the band were actually the original idea that Henry came up with, but due to budget constraints during Fazbear Entertainment's youth, it was shrunken down to just being Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. It feels very realistic and believable. I like it a lot, alongside the idea of Freddy Fazbear ending up becoming one of the most popular children's mascots of all time here, alongside Mickey Mouse and Ronald McDonald. That's fun. Oh, and the fact that the main animatronic stands at an average of 6'8", not including their accessories. I took a look at that on a height chart and, well, that's a terrifying visual. Guess I'm not sleeping tonight. Anyway, as of writing this, Freddy and Chica even have recorded voice actor audition tapes, with Freddy being voiced by the in-universe Brad McCarthy, while Chica is Emma Hopkins. The voice acting is so good, you do not understand how big my smile was when I was listening to Freddy's recording for this video. But maybe that's just the autism speaking, I don't know. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if these are the actual voice actors' audition recordings for when fetching each character's voice for the game. It's that good. Chica's audition is a little bit, I don't want to say worse, but that's really the only other word I can use. I don't really see Emma's Chica voice as being a proper voice for Chica. It might be because it's an unfiltered, unedited audio file, but it just doesn't really feel like it has much motivation or energy put into it in comparison to Freddy's. Chica's other voice stuff is much better though, don't worry. Oh yeah, she also has Carl the Cupcake, who looks to just be a plastic prop with no animatronic stuff in it. Lame. Onto the original characters, starting off Chica's Magic Rainbow. Apparently she was the background singer for the band, and she only ever appeared at the game's location because the customers found her too creepy, which, yeah, no, that's valid. There's also this weird mushroom guy who was unofficially called Melvin by the Freddy's staff, who's like comic relief or something. I don't really see the appeal if I'm gonna be honest. The only thing really worth mentioning about this freak is that an employee ended up carving an F and B into a heart on the mushroom to hint at the relationship between Freddy and Bonnie. Wow, the Fazbear Entertainment staff have some insane foresight. Then there's also Helpy, who's a hamster in this universe. He's supposed to be like a computer system on Fazbear computers, which is neat. He was also made publicly available at one point, calling him Helpy Pal, but they kind of rushed things and the program failed for being kind of bad and containing malicious code. Once again, some absolutely crazy foresight. There's also pages for Fredbear, Bonnie Rabbit, the puppet, and Sparky of all characters, which, oh okay, I see how it is. It is cool how Sparky's gonna play a role in the game though, I can't wait to see his design. As for the history page, I could yap about this, but it's mostly all stuff we've read or seen already. The only thing worth bringing up though is that Sparky was actually one of the original mascots alongside Fredbear and Bonnie Rabbit, being the ones who have been on the secondary stage at the time. The most interesting part has been left for last though, the archive part of the page, containing images, posters, and videos from Freddy's history. Like at restaurants such as Chuck E. Cheese, all of the mascots have walk-around mascot costumes that employees can wear to interact with kids. The main one they like to show off is Freddy though, with the others presumably either not existing or not having models yet. I like this concept. This is what Fazbear Entertainment should have done rather than that Springlock CBS. The suit design is also very cute and appealing, I think, and it's certainly a nice detail that doesn't try to be similar to the animatronic design and rather goes for a more cutesy cartoon look, not unlike real life mascot suits of existing animatronics. This photo definitely sticks out to me as the most interesting, being from a storage unit that belongs to a Fazbear memorabilia collector. It has a bunch of animatronic mechs, a Foxy head on a shelf, a Freddy walk-around suit that's missing an eye sadly, and even what looks to be a toy Freddy head. There's also a few stage props scattered around the room, a little bit of Chica's magic rainbow being visible behind the walk-around costume there. I absolutely love photos like these. It feels so unsettling but so authentic at the same time. You could absolutely imagine some crazy Faz fan with more money than common sense racking up a collection like this. It's so cool. Next up is this picture of the main three animatronics in storage during 2003, with them being covered in tarp. Once again, absolutely wild foresight. Y'all are on a roll today. The only reason I bring this up though is because they ended up also posting some behind the scenes photos on their Twitter page, which I gotta be honest is very interesting to look at. They even posted the texture or shader, I don't know, notes for the tarp material, which is very useful. I will be stealing this for the future. There's also these cool looking holiday posters for Christmas and Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving poster more being a PSA from the company saying the restaurant won't be open for Thanksgiving so employees can spend time with their families. Which in my eyes does not sound like something Fazbear Entertainment would do, but a day off is a day off I guess. As for the Christmas poster, Freddy's wearing a little Santa hat, that's so cute. He's also visible wearing this in one of the videos, being a recording of Freddy and Friends singing Last Christmas by Wham. I don't know if this song is copyrighted or not, and the internet wasn't much help, so I am risking it. So you get to enjoy some well-sung lyrics from yours truly. Okay, right, here we go, I guess. Fucking, let's do it. I love convenient camera glitching. One special show. Oh, woe is God. I don't know, I can't do this. This bit's silent, I don't know what to tell you, dude. I can't. Oh god, I'm fumbling this so bad. I don't understand the lyrics! Alongside the Christmas song video, they also have footage of Melvin being introduced into the band, and to be completely honest, I can't tell if the audience is cheering in happiness or screaming in fear. Either way, I know I'd be doing the second if I was a kid at Freddy's. The final thing for us to take a peek at on their website is the audio files, which I can't represent these visually, so, the only one both worth looking at, and I think I'm allowed to if I want to get paid when/if I can get monetized, is this Christmas radio ad. Promising customers a novelty character cup, a voucher for 23 tokens and more if they come in before January 1st. I wish I had more to say about this other than it just screaming authenticity. Before we move on to Twitter stuff though, I do want to bring up these cool looking in-universe Polaroid card things of older models of the Fazbear band both in our world and presumably in the world of the game, judging by how the Freddy head makes a cameo appearance in the storage unit photo. While not technically being a part of the ARG, they still fit that in-universe feel and I like them a lot. Moving on to the stuff that's not on the website, first off there's this Fall Fest if this isn't live action animated, how? How the fuck do you animate like that? Tell me, please! Please! But seriously though, the guy in the Freddy suit is animated so well and the fur looks so real, I wouldn't be surprised if that bit was live action made for it. It's so well done. Oh, and there's also a glitchy bit hiding the puppet's design. Of course there is. I forgot FNaF cameras are allergic to plot relevance. And the final thing I want to take a look at here is this Freddy's ad announcing the rebranding of the restaurant from Fredbear's Family Diner to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Hidden inside of a compilation of kids' TV commercials from the 80s, which I think is very clever and much more unique than just posting the thing on its own, but 13 minutes worth of ads? You didn't need to commit to the bit that hard! The only gripe I already have of this is that they played that jingle alongside the restaurant compilation 3 separate times alongside the jingle once on its own at the end. It'd be nice to have some variety, but okay, I guess. The fact that any of this is here in the first place is so cool, and I absolutely live for this type of in-universe style media and storytelling. It really goes to show just how much the developers for this game care about the project and how passionate they are about it. Willing to make an entire mock-up archive full of images, videos, audio files, and more just for the sake of world building. Enough yapping about the content though, I think it's about time we talk about the designs of the main 4 animatronics. It's like if Battington's designs in their original FNaF 1 variants did a Steven Universe gem fusion. I know this is badly edited, thank you for pointing that out. Anyway, these designs are absolutely amazing, Bonnie being my absolute favourite. They're a much more realistic take on the main gang without straying too far from the source material or focusing too hard on being scary like the FNaF Plus designs were. The main focus of the horror in their designs being the uncanny valley, the dead-eyed stares, the visible seams in the suits. It all comes together to give off the vibe of a believably kid-friendly animatronic in the day, while also being absolutely horrifying in the right circumstances. And the textures on them are so detailed, gone are the weird randomly generated textures on Scott's models, and instead we have this slightly rubbery foam texture that I absolutely love. I think Chica is probably the weakest of the bunch though. Her face shape just being a bit off to me, but I think she's still my favourite when it comes to pulling off that uncanny vibe, with the hanging jaw and eyes facing in slightly different directions. Speaking of Chica, I also like the redesign of Mr. Cupcake. Despite the fact he's lost any and all sense of spookiness he ever had in his design, he looks very silly and cute, and that's all that matters. As for original characters, Jesus Christ, what were Henry and William thinking? Chica's Magic Rainbow and Melvin the Mushroom are, unsettling, to say the least, leaning a little too hard towards the look of Battington's FNaF Plus redesigns, I think, and to be honest, they don't really fit the style of the core 4 animatronics. They're trying too hard, to be blunt. And it does kind of take away from the believability and immersion just a little bit, if I'm gonna be honest. Healthy Pal, on the other hand, oh my god, this thing is adorable. I can't even put into words how much I love this little specimen. Little glimpse we get of the puppet's design though, I don't have much to say about it. It just feels like your standard puppet redesign. As for Sparky, Fredbear, and Bunny Rabbit, they don't actually have models yet, which... damn. Instead of taking place in Hurricane, Utah during the 1990s, the game actually takes place in Colorado Springs 2003. Following a break in the previous year and a major decline in business, the company is struggling to stay afloat. Our protagonist, who as of writing this remains currently unnamed, left Colorado about 20 years before the game takes place for undisclosed reasons that most likely have something to do with Freddy's, who eventually returns and, in desperate need of some cash, took the night guard position at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. You'd hoped you'd never have to return to this place of sorrow, but after 20 years, something has called you back. The past has a voice, and it's calling you home. That's the basic stuff the game's presented so far, the reason the player has to be there and all that, but there's also some other stuff that's been indirectly implied so far. For one, the Fazbear Archive was first created in 2015, 12 whole years after the game takes place, with the history section of the page stating that the Colorado Springs location ends up closing in 2003, alongside it being the same year that Fazbear goes bankrupt, with being bought out by Burrow Industries a few years later, which I find very interesting. Besides that, the only other lore tidbits to point out is that Yellow Bear will actually have a role in the game, although small. It won't be in the form you expect though. And that apparently the restaurant ended up closing for 4 whole years back in 1985 for obvious reasons. Alongside this, both founders of Fazbear Entertainment ended up disappearing from public view at certain points in time, Henry disappearing around the time of the rebrand from Fredbear's to Freddy's, and William disappearing a little bit after the closure of the restaurant in 85. There's not really much else to say about the lore without just delving into mindless yap of things I may or may not have already mentioned, so yeah. Once again, I don't know how to end this bit. Yeah, this game is good. The sheer amount of stuff present here and only about 7 months since the revamped designs is absolutely insane. It just baffles me how they were able to get all of this done in such a high quality, authentic state in less than a year, mind you. It's genuinely incredible. But in all seriousness, Blood and Gears devs, if you're watching this, please don't rush this game. I need to see this project reach its full potential, no matter how long it takes. I can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch the passion and effort put into this project, and I can't wait to see it in its fully released glory. Though I do expect to see some blood and gears in the final game, or else I'm going to get my lawyer to sue you guys for false advertisement.